Hi, this is Grandma Lori. Thanks for joining me today. Our story is Sneaky Pete Fights Back. Sneaky Pete was so happy. All those pesky starlings had flown away, good riddance, and Pete had all the loose seed to himself. Better yet, none of the dogs or cats were out. Pete jumped from the top of the fence all the way down to the ground. He was pretty light on his feet, so he landed silently. Then he settled down for a big meal of birdseed. Just then, the flock of starlings flew back in, and boy were they mad. Sneaky Pete was eating all their food. They weren't done yet. They had just gone to get a drink, and they all had to go together. Pete was very scared. Those birds hurt when they dove at him. "Shoo! Shoo!" yelled Pete. The biggest starling said, "Then get away from our food, you lousy squirrel. Mom puts that out for us, not you." "Share and share alike, I always say." "I'll be back," yelled Pete as he ran away. Running all the way to his house, Pete was out of breath when he got home, huffing and puffing. He noticed his brother was home. "Hey, Petey, what's going on? You look like you've seen a ghost," said Reggie. Pete struggled to catch his breath. "It's those starlings. They attacked me again when I was trying to eat." "Oh, wow. I'm sorry," said Reggie. "Have you thought about fighting back?" "Fighting back?" Pete replied. "Mom says we're not supposed to fight or touch anyone out of anger. That means I can't fight back." Reggie thought for a minute. "Actually, there is a way to fight back. I'll help. Maybe if you're able to win, we can all enjoy a nice, quiet meal of birdseed." With that, the brothers went into the workshop. When Mom came home, she could tell the boys were up to something, but she didn't interrupt. It must be something important, because they didn't even hear her come in. The boys worked all night and were finally ready to launch their plan. The sun rose the next morning a beautiful pinkish orange. All was quiet in the backyard. The starlings were busy eating breakfast. It looked like there was 1,000,000 of them. The hummingbirds were at the feeders. The rabbit was eating from the garden. A typical morning. "Okay, little brother, it's time to act. Get out there," said Reggie as he pushed Pete in front of him. Sneaky Pete wasn't sneaky this day. He wanted to really get those starlings. He jumped out from behind the fence, waving his arms and yelling. At first, the birds didn't notice anything. But then, the more Pete waved his arms and yelled, the more they got to see a monster standing in front of them. "Get away from my food!" yelled Pete, in as gruff a voice as he could. The birds looked at each other with frightened looks in their eyes. Then they took off as fast as they could. They didn't even look back. "Well, little brother, that was very well done," said Reggie. "A brilliant plan, if I do say so myself." Pete said, "Hey, wait a minute. If it was so brilliant a plan, how come you didn't dress up like a monster and do it yourself?" Reggie smiled. "Do you think I'm crazy? What if the starlings attacked? I wasn't going to open myself up for that. Now let's eat." Sneaky Pete just looked at his brother and said, "And I thought I was sneaky."